Partner? Around, you know, up north, mostly. Been in these parts before, but that was years ago.
Oh, it's changed. The rich fellas are coming in and buying everything, the ranches. Well, it ain't as wild as it once were, at least.
There is that.
Say, if it ain't too personal a question, are you a gunslinger, mister?
Good Lord, no. Nothing like that.
No. Just a ranch hand, then.
Just a ranch hand. Failed at a bunch of things, like most men.
I feel a whole heap better having a ranch hand like you around. That is for sure.
Let's see how you feel once you see me work.
Yeah, we used to have a bunch of women here did most of the milking. Most of them drifted off.
Okay.
You fine with milking?
You know, I ain't really done much of it.
Yes, you can still get in time to put
Never
on
really
the tree
did.
for the kiddos.
You serious?
Now editor-in-chief
Sure.
of Toy Insider, Marissa
Jim.
DiBartolo, with
Jim
last
Bill.
minute gift ideas. Fortnite, it's so hot, right? What do you get? So finally, the toys are available. So these just came out a couple weeks ago. They're flying off the shelves, but you can still find them. So these are all from Jazzwares. We've got great collectible action figures, and this is my favorite. It's the Llama Drama Loot Pinata. So kids can open this, and it's full of different blind bags and collectibles based on Fortnite. So lots of fun there. And then the Rainbow Corn. Rainbow Corn. So this is kind of like a combination of all the hottest toy trends this year. Inside of this egg is a unicorn plush. There's also a little collectible figure, and they even have these great sequins on their bellies. So they have this like great sequin flip action that reveals what their favorite little treat is. So isn't that cool? What do you think of this? Just looking at this, I knew this was going to be a hot toy because it's just it's colors and sequins, but there's surprise. The surprise is the theme with toys this year. When you undo the sequins, when you move them, you can. The surprise is what the treat is for the end. Isn't that something? Kids think kind of cool. This kind of starts your little girl young in terms of the sequin dress that converts from like one day to night. So we're going to talk about some gifts for older kids or even adults, kids at heart, right? So this is the Sky Viper Fury Stun drone. This is a really cool drone that has one-touch control, so easy auto land and takeoff. And there's two different modes. If you're an experienced pilot, you can kind of put it in that harder sport mode, or if you're not so experienced like me, you need a little help. There's a normal mode that it'll kind of help, you know, balance and hover itself, which is cool. What age is this? Because if your baby boy is in his house, right. Yeah, this is more like 8 and up, and adults will really love this too.
Right, so this is even for older kids.
Yeah,
than
definitely.
even
like
adults.
water bottles. Yeah. They're easy to keep entertained, right? And then we also have the 3 Doodler Create Plus. This is a really great 3D printing pen. So you can actually draw in plastic with this and create some great little creations like custom Christmas decorations or pretty much anything that you can imagine. They also have some great project kits where you can create things like candle holders and different things for your home. Just about $79. It's very affordable, and
I was going to say that's expensive, but for
for what it does,
right.
Exactly, for that kind of technology to be, just at the tip of your fingers is great.
And then down there are stocking
Yeah, we've got
stuffers.
some really great stocking stuffers. So we're going to start with Disney Delectables. So this is another toy that has lots of elements of surprise. So when you open the container, you don't know which one you're getting, and there's different layers that you can kind of unbox here.
It's scented?
Yes, they are scented. They smell like sweet little ice cream. Yeah, maybe chocolate or something like that. And then you get to build up your little Disney pink ice cream cone. And there's even some honey inside, which is a lot of fun. So kids love that, right?
Are any of these difficult to get? That's the issue when there's a popular toy.
Yeah.
You have to search for it and they don't make enough of them.
No, there's still some shopping time left, and you can find all of these major retailers like Walmart, Target, Amazon. There's still some time for that 2-day shipping, right? And
And then the Star Wars.
yeah, Star Wars creature crate. So these are like inside this little crate here. And the kids kind of have to dig through to discover their little hidden Star Wars creature. Yeah, it's very
It does come off though.
But it actually sticks to itself, so that's kind of nice, easy to clean up.
You have to explain. Lauren's never seen Star Wars, so you'll need to explain to Lauren how this is integrated into
Well,
the
winter
Star
break
Wars.
is coming, so
Kevin
now's
Kelly's
the time.
all he's on me for this, so is Cheryl Cassani, but I'm like, down to Morgan Ortegas has not seen them either. Is this a version of a STEM toy?
Yeah, so you're actually digging through kind of like, archaeology and things like that. Kids are discovering these little pretend fossilized bones of famous Star Wars creatures.
Oh, if you're shiny, just some sand.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been doing this all over my living room.
Yeah, it's
Easy to clean, I promise.
This is why we wanted you in the segment where it's from the top.
Keep it real.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Happy holidays. The things that may have taken place, again, that's for the judge to make that determination, whether he engaged in something inappropriate. What we do know that was inappropriate by own self-admittance of James Comey is that the FBI broke standard protocol in the way that they came in and ambushed General Flynn, and in the way that they questioned him, and in the way that they encouraged him not to have White House counsel's office present. And we know that because
Watch your favorite 24/7 news networks live on YouTube TV.
Greetings, fans. How's it going? Yet again, it is Felix from NYNews.com. Like always, all the stars. Yankees fans, today is the day. Today is Manny Machado Day. Celebrated all over New York City. Even the Mets fans are waking up from their weed-induced comas on their sofas, and they are at the edge of their seats. Everybody wants to know if Manny Machado is going to sign with the New York Yankees. Here's why the Yankees have the best chance, and this is why they're the front runners. Even though the Yankees, in my opinion, are going to offer him a minimum contract compared to these other offers that Manny Machado is going to receive. You can say the place where Manny Machado comes from, Miami, grew up, raised, is very similar to New York City. They called it really the sixth borough of NYC. Manny Machado has said numerous times, if he had the opportunity to sign with the Marlins, he would have signed with the Marlins. Obviously, the Marlins are saving money. They are in a rebuilding mode. Obviously, Manny Machado is 26 years of age, and you will consider him young. Obviously, Manny Machado does not fit in their plans now because Manny Machado is going to bank. So with that being said, that's one advantage that the Yankees have. Here's another advantage. Manny Machado's family is Dominican. A big old Dominican population here in NYC. obviously, his family members, a lot of them are Yankees fans. If you saw the previous All-Star game, we all saw his little nephew. A question was asked, where do you want to see Manny Machado traded to? And his little nephew said, the New York Yankees. So I'm not saying I'm a private investigator that I know that Manny Machado's family members are Yankees fans, but it's quite obvious that Manny Machado has been wanting to become a Yankee for quite some time now. There's a whole bunch of options that the Yankees can take when negotiating a contract with Manny Machado. You can see this contract where they're paying Manny Machado the minimum. Then it increases year by year as the Yankees try to stay under the luxury tax, because that's the Yankees' main goal, guys. If you can't see that by now, then I don't know what to tell you. The Yankees want to stay under the luxury tax. So let's say Manny Machado accepts the Yankees' offer. You're going to see the Yankees try to trade away players to relieve salary. Maybe a Jacoby Ellsbury, a Sonny Gray, or even the name that triggers a lot of Yankees fans, Giancarlo Stanton. You're going to see the Yankees make moves like this if they are 100% on board in signing Manny Machado, and if Manny Machado is 100% on board with wanting to play for the Yankees. The Yankees and Machado match up perfectly. Manny Machado obviously likes it here in NYC. Maybe his wife likes it here. Obviously, I know for a fact that his family's going to like it here or likes it here. It is the perfect match. And I don't see Manny Machado picking another team over the Yankees, even if the Yankees offer him the minimum contract compared to, let's say, if the White Sox, the Phillies offer him over $300 million for 10 years or whatever. Or it might be lower because the mainstream media guys are really, if you ask me, it kind of looks racist. They are really writing horrible hit pieces on Manny Machado, and they are driving his price down. Hey, I'm not saying that Harper, who's fought his teammates, who's had a reputation of being really a cancer in the clubhouse, I don't see the same thing happening with him. So before people get mad at that, if you know my political ideology, I'm the last guy to say such a thing. But it's quite obvious what's happening with Manny Machado and the hit pieces that are going on towards Manny Machado. I'm not saying it's coming from any organization, but really they have grabbed his comments and really decreased his value. But you can say Manny Machado is responsible for his comments, but like I said, the same thing is not being done for Harper. And I'm not saying it should be done. I think these writers, I think these news publications should just let it go. Because like I said, even if you don't view it some sort of way, other people are going to view it some sort of way. And you're putting out the narrative, let's say if you are a little kid, just as Manny Machado grew up in Miami, let's say a kid of color that Major League Baseball is trying to attract, they want minorities to play baseball again. You're setting a bad example saying, hey, if you say something that we don't agree with or whatever, when it comes time for you to get paid, we're going to run a whole bunch of negative articles about you. And even if you're talented, one of the best in the game, we're going to decrease your value and take money from you. In my opinion, that's a bad example. But hey, that's just my opinion. So Yankees fans, I am going to try to give you videos or photos when Manny Machado is seen in public in NYC with the Yankees. So stay tuned to this channel. If you have friends, families, whatever, co-workers, tell them to subscribe to NY News. I will have that footage for you. So, like always, Yankees fans, leave your opinions in the comment section below. It is Manny Machado Day. And like always, share, like, and subscribe. And I will check you all next time.
Takes a few seconds to fix this one up. Okay, Alex. Hello, you.
This is a miracle rescue with all 13 members of the soccer team are out of the cave.
He turns into the superhero set on feeding
feeding as many homeless people as possible.
This election, we've seen historic voter turnout.
If all Asians has, there's nothing more empowering. You right up and do it.
Ah!
I would say the word Johnny. And how for difficult life may seem, when there's life, there is hope.
Kids have the dream, they just want to know that someone cares. You got love for it's only right. You got to see that.
Welcome to the show, Chloe Kim.
I love you so much. I'm so
Life is good. The world is filled with people doing the best they can, you know, who love their kids, and life and live their lives to a little bit more hope, just like everybody else.
You had a good look at Lance Lynn down the stretch. Yeah, not overwhelming while he was with the Yankees, but there were some good things there. Your thoughts on that deal?
I thought it was more than I felt he was going to get. I've been surprised at a lot of the money the pitchers have gotten. But I think fastballs play in this world now, and he throws hard, and I think that's why people take chances on him.
Again, you follow the Yankees pitch by pitch, so you've been immersed between that and your radio show. With Bryce Harper will eventually be in pinstripes. Is there any possibility that happens now?
Well, yesterday Brian Cashman spoke to the assembled media, and he said, pretty much, we have 6 outfielders. I've never said I was in on him. I'm pretty much not in on him. And we just interviewed him 2 minutes before I came here, and he would not back. He kind of walked back that statement.
Walk it back.
I said to him, are you telling me that you're now in on him? He said, I'm just telling you that I don't want to answer any more questions on it. You could divine whatever you want out of it. So I'm going to divine that they're keeping the door open a little bit.
Okay. Given the Giancarlo Stanton thing, what do you think? What's the fit? What would happen? Where's he go?
Brett Gardner would become a 4th outfielder. Well, they could trade Hicks. Hicks has a year left on his contract, so there's ways that you could work it for sure. I think they prefer to have Stanton as the DH. They think that would keep him healthier. And, there's not that much money invested in Gardner, and they don't want to play him that much anyway at the age of 34, 35. And a lot would involve what they do with Hicks. But there's ways to work it.
I mean, at some point, they've got to pay Aaron Judge.
Right.
How much money are you going to pay your outfit? $1 billion?
Well, what it comes down to, this is almost like the situation with the Seattle Seahawks when Russell Wilson was at a really low contract. They were able to surround him with a lot. And Gary Sanchez doesn't make much, Severino doesn't make much, Judge doesn't make much, and on, and Duhar. So this one, they can actually put the big contracts up. But at some point, those guys are going to have to be paid. But with Judge, they're 4 years away from that.
Don't you think it's hard for the Yankees to just resist the idea of getting into this game? He's 26 years old. In a perfect world, you want some more left-handed power on that Yankee lineup. I mean, Hall of Fame numbers. He's got the poster Mickey Mantle growing up over the bed. Always wanted to wear stripes. How do they not get in the game at all for Bryce Harper?
I think that on both of the big free agents, they don't want to go to 10 years. And when you're dealing with Scott Boras, obviously he's going to push it to the limit. I think that they're very much in on Machado, but they want him at their turn, maybe at 5 years, even at a higher average annual value. In terms of Harper, he's going to cost a lot of money. Scott doesn't give hometown discounts because Mickey Mantle's poster was over his bed. I don't think that's going to save the Yankees any money. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure they'd like to make a splash. I think they're pretty close to signing Happ, but there's a lot of work to do. And the reason that Machado is more desirable for them, they really have a hole with Didi. I mean, that's something that people don't think is a big deal. He might be out 5 months, so you can't just have a patchwork situation. You want a big-time player.
But then Didi comes back, right? And then Duhar is.
I thought it was interesting that Brian Cashman the other day mentioned.
What keeps me smiling and what keeps me jumping out of bed every morning is that I live my passions. I live them and I work with them. I get to explore kind of living youthfully through my skateboard and my camera. My name is Sierra Prescott, and I am a skateboarding photographer. I'm going to Canada to have this whole new world of experiences. I get to meet up with Olympic snowboarder Mercedes Nichol, and I'm uber stoked on that because she's going to help me get back on my board.
Whistler is home to me not only because my family's here, but I grew up in the mountains.
Try to surround myself with other people that have drive, people you actually let influence you. Everyone should always bring you up. Living in California, I basically grew up in the sunshine, and this is snowland, this is mountain land, this is stuff I've never seen before. Snowboarding was a blast when I was a kid. Once life kind of took over, snowboarding was much harder to put into my life, so I'm really excited to get the opportunity to work with Mercedes, who's just this bomb snowboarder. I'm hoping she can get me back in the groove of snowboarding. The one thing that skateboarding has really taught me in my life is that falling is a part of it. I got somewhere. You're gonna fall. That's how you learn. That's the only way you grow. Yeah, I mean, it was scary. For that, like, first 30 seconds, I was just like, do I know what I'm doing? It's going outside your comfort zone and, like, experiencing new things. It's totally. Trying new things is just something you gotta do. Of course, it's gonna be uncomfortable, but the more you try things that are uncomfortable, you won't feel as vulnerable. So it's really important that you actually take that leap to try the new things. I have never thrown an axe. I am probably more excited than I should be. I'm a positive person, so I think I can build at first sight.
So the real trick of axe throwing is you actually want to hold that axe right above your head and you want it straight up and down. Yeah! Up top! That was epic!
This trip has presented so many new news to me. I truthfully was so nervous just thinking about being in a new spot. It's such a different feeling. It's like homey and everyone's friendly.
And what's cool about Whistler is that you have both mountains that turn to the Dexter Village.
Just thinking to myself, wait, you're only nervous because it's new. It's only new because it's the first time you're doing it. Life is experiences. I think exploring and definitely seeing what you can and cannot get out of life is pretty important. Having an experience like I've had in Whistler has given me something that has transformed my view on just life and how it's supposed to be experienced. And dreams are possible. They aren't out of reach. You just need to make them happen.
August, right, with Didi. First it was June, July. I'm not pinning him down here, but he said you don't know when he's coming back, June, July, or August. So you think the Yankees' priority, if they had a choice between the two of those, you'd put Machado over Harper?
I would put Machado over Harper simply because there's ways to plug him in. You could then use Andujar as trade bait to get another pitcher if you so want to do that. He still has options left, which is amazing. Machado would agree to go to third. He really wants to play shortstop, which he would play if he signed with the Yankees right at the beginning. But the Yankees also, from what I'm hearing, would like to extend Didi. So if they extend Didi, then Machado's career as a Yankee would be at third base, where he's much better defensively than he is at short.
Right. Didn't he want to play shortstop just to help his marketability and showcase himself? Like, once you get the 10 years, $300 million, love shortstop.
Love shortstop.
Yeah, he wants to stay there. Yeah, okay. We have tweeting news coming in. Breaking. We got a good topic here. Yes. Yankees and J-Happ working to final. Well, we knew that. Looks like it might be 2 years plus and an option once. All right, so that's new news. I'm done.
Well, it is because it looked like it was going to be 3 years. I mean, what I'm hearing is third-year vesting option. So if he remains as healthy as he has been, that triggers the third year, but they're not going to guarantee that third year.
I think it's good for the Yankees, as Jason said, not to guarantee that third year when he's going to be 39 years old. And that's what lost him out on Corbin, and it lost him out on Eovaldi. They have been very responsible, very reasonable, and they will not go longer than they think. They never even made an offer to Corbin once he said he wanted a 6-year deal. Never made an offer. And they liked Eovaldi as well, but they knew they have to go to 4 years right now.
Yeah, I mean, his fastball plays out. I've made comparisons to it when you look at how often he uses it and the low slugging percentage against it. It actually matches up with Justin Verlander. And you're saying, wait a second, Verlander, the guy's throwing 95, 96, 97. J-Happ's velocity is actually below average. It's 92. but it's the way the ball comes out of his hand. And I like this guy's mechanics. He's a guy, the ball comes out of his hand. I compare to Chuck Finley, who was maintaining quality pitching through his late 60s. I think it's a great fit for the Yankees. This guy in his career at Yankee Stadium at Fenway is 13-3 with a 3.3 ERA. So that, I know, Michael, in the AL East, that always gives the Yankees comfort level to know that a guy's done that before.
You met Finley in his late 30s. He said late 60s.
I did say late 60s.
That's the geezers that say We have breaking news in this case. I just want to point that out. Thank you.
I will tell you this about Hat, and all of you guys know it. It's a different animal pitching for the New York Yankees, and he handled it beautifully. And he didn't even lose a game. I think he was 7-0 with a 2.69, and the only blemish is he lost a playoff game to the Red Sox where he didn't have his best stuff, but he fit it perfectly. He liked it. He wasn't overwhelmed by it, and that's important because some guys can't handle it.
I want to ask you a question because again, you're so now entrenched in the Yankee culture, and the fact that the way Brian Cashman flipped this over, and now it's a young, kind of homegrown Yankee exciting club. I thought last year was a success. Yet there is the other part of the Yankees where we're a Broadway show. We're going to get superstars. Where do you think they stand on that whole mindset now? Which is, they're two separate roads.
Well, I think they would, if they had their druthers, they would have their kids just take them to a championship, and they fell short last year. So now what do they do next to bring attention and bring eyes? Now, how much of George Steinbrenner's DNA is in Hal? Because I think Hal is a very conservative guy who likes the way this team has been built. Fans like the way it's been built as well. We did a poll on our radio show, and do you want Machado or not? 51% didn't want it. Now, in the old days, everybody would want it. They want every single player, but they didn't want Machado. I think it's going to have to be at the right price. They want him, but not for 10 years, and they want him at the right price.
All right, let me bring you back to this. I mean, a couple of things with Manny. One, I've heard so many times that Manny has actually told them he wants to be a Yankee. I wonder if they can play that card to drive down the years, right? So that's part of it. But the other part is what you just mentioned. How wary are their fans of a guy who said, I'm not Johnny Hustle? How does that play in New York? How do they handle it if he comes there?
I think that they would jump on him right away. If he had an 0-for-4, they booed Giancarlo Stanton early. So that's just, they boot a lot of free agents early if you don't perform well. If he's not hustling and he's not one of theirs, Robinson Cano was one of theirs. So they kind of gave him a little bit of slack. But he's not going to get slack early. And he was on the biggest stage, the biggest job interview in the month of October, and he decided he wasn't even going to do it then. So if you sign him, you have to know exactly what you're getting. Don't expect him to change.
How would you? If they're going to bring him in here sometime in the next couple of weeks, sit him down with Hal, with Cash, with who knows who else, and they're going to look him in the eye and say, will you promise to hustle if you're a New York Yankee?
In October, how about even that? That's like, hey, not April. Take it easy.
How do you know? How do you gauge what the guy says versus how he played in October? Make a talented player, but this is something that's really hanging over.
I think the Yankees are looking for a reason to go hard after him. I mean, because, again, he showed everybody, and in the interview with Ken Rosenthal, he told everybody exactly what he's about. I give him credit for being honest, but Hal Steinbrenner said, well, I want Cash to talk to him. You already know what he thinks. You've already seen what he thinks, but now you want him to give you a reason to not think that. Otherwise, they would just shut it down. So I think they really want him.
We've been throwing a lot of things out there with the Hall of Fame, with the Veterans Committee vote. I know from a Yankee perspective, I'm stunned that Bernie Williams and Jorge Posada aren't on the writer's ballot. They fell below 5%. I think Bernie especially is a very strong candidate. What does the Harold Baines, Lee Smith thing reverberate in your world?
The only way that I can accept it without being angry about it, okay, we've lowered the bar a little bit in the game of limbo. So now maybe Hernandez and Mattingly and Munson get in. And as you said, Bernie Williams and Jorge Posada, a lot of doors now open because now if Harold Baines, all due respect, a really great guy, I know that Tony La Russa got into an argument with Bruce Russo about it. I think people are a little defensive that he got in because the criticism has been so great. The only way the door stays open if the people don't overreact 3 years from now and say, oh, we've got to correct what happened. But if they continue to go on this path, I think that guys that have been shunned before, they're going to get in. Harold Baines was shunned after 5 years.
Yeah, he fell off the bat. By the
Watch your favorite 24/7 news networks live on YouTube TV.
way, Keith Hernandez is a good candidate. You can look back at Thurman Munson in a myriad ways and just by his career, without even saying, well, his life was cut short.
Right.
He's a Hall of Fame candidate.
And here's another guy, too, and I work with him, and since, being a nice guy seems to have some sway, you look at Ken Singleton's numbers, WAR and everything like that on base percentage, he is equal to Harold Baines. Why isn't Ken Singleton?
He was ahead of his time with the base numbers.
He would have been a $25 million player.
David Cohn is a good candidate.
And he's off the ballot.
Right. We have to look at it sabermetrically, and that doesn't seem to be being done out there in some of the veterans.
Well, it's not being done. It was done my year because I was in There you go. Look, it's just not a priority for that group. I've been talking about it all week. They have a way of thinking about players that we may not agree with, but there's a reason that committee exists. It's to give players a second look from a different perspective. And I think what happened this week affects players in Veterans Committee voting going forward. I don't think it affects the kind of voting that Tom and I do.
Yankees and their interest in Manny Machado. How are they approaching sort of the Harper/Machado sweepstakes, the New York Yankees? So this afternoon, when he was meeting with a group of New York reporters, in the most definitive way yet, Brian Cashman said what I and several others have been reporting for a long time, which is I don't think Bryce Harper is a factor for them, and he essentially eliminated Bryce Harper. He said we have 6 outfielders, doesn't fit in the outfield. They're not going to spend $300 million and hope he can play first base. They have limited funds, and so they're not going to guess on a player. And he always says, follow what I say. I've said we're concentrating on starting pitching, relief pitching, and a middle infielder who could spell during DD's Gregorius's Tommy John absence. Bryce Harper doesn't fit any of that. He literally said, why are you guys still asking me Bryce Harper questions? So Bryce Harper is out for the Yankees. He did say that he's had a couple of conversations with Dan Lozano, who is the agent for Manny Machado. I still think that that's a long shot. I don't think the Yankees are going to have to this quickly a second mega deal when they already have Stanton on the books. But I didn't think they were going to do Stanton last year. So, they're the Yankees. Who knows? I still think their concentration is starting pitching. Can they get Jay Happ? Do they have the wherewithal to find a way to Corey Kluber? And then I think their next thing is 2 relief pitchers, and within that to find somebody 2 to 4 months that they won't have to use. Tom, after next year, the Yankees right now only have $87 million committed to the Patriots. They keep asking Brian Cashman as reporters about Bryce Harper is because of people like Johnny Damon, Mark Teixeira, Giancarlo Stanton, people they weren't in until they were in on those kind of players. I still think, I'm not saying they're going to sign him, but they at least have to keep an eye on where it's going. I do see Machado as a higher priority, but I'm with you. Right now, it's about getting a starting pitcher. They pretty much told the world that Sonny Gray is going to get off the roster. They need a starting pitcher there, whether it's a trade with Cleveland or one of their 2.